So here's guys the next question, and this one still need you to factorize. And I told you that when you see plus or minus between your terms, first thing you look for the like terms, but if there is no like term, try to factorize it. And also the question told you that here we are factorizing. Even if you can try to check the like terms, we don't have like terms here. So when we factorize this thing, you can see that here we got 4 terms. 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4. So here we got 4 terms. And if we got 4 terms, we must apply grouping, meaning that we must group these two ones and group also these two ones. And when you group, you take the common factor so that you can have the common factor. So here, if you can take the common factor here, the common factor is x3, meaning this one it's my common factor, open bracket. And when I divide with my common factor, they will cancel, left with 2a. When I divide with my common factor, cancel, left with b, 3b. Do you see? Yeah. And also this minus, guys, will be here. That minus will be there. And now if I can take a common factor between these two things, you can see the common factor, it's y3. It's y3. So now my common factor, it's been affected by negative. It means now my common factor will be negative. Do you see? And now open bracket, when I divide, the same sign give me positive 2a. Same sign give me positive 3b. Yeah. So guys, you can see that after I take my common factor, still I have another common factor. Remember guys, when you group, you take a common factor so that you can have the common factor. So now, yes, I do have a common factor. So let me take it out. B. So 2a plus b. So this one, it is my common factor, this one. And when I divide here, it will be cancelled, left with 3y. Divide there, left with y3. Do you see? Yeah. So now guys, this one, it's not the end of the question. When you factorize, you must factorize completely or fully. It means now I must also factorize this thing. This one, I cannot factorize that. There is no common factor. You cannot apply difference of two squares. There is no like term. Even you cannot do what? Grouping, all that stuff for this one. But for that one, if you can check this thing, guys, it is in this format, this thing. It is in this format, plus or minus b. Whereby there is minus, do you see right there? Whereby there is minus and 3, 3. So how do we factorize this thing? To factorize this thing, we just say open and close, open and close, open and close. This one will write the way it is. So to factorize this one, we'll take the cube root of x3. Means that it will be just x here. The cube root of this thing, it's y. Cube root of y, it's y. Do you see? Yeah. So that minus will be there. Take this thing in exponential format. Do you see? This thing in squared format, guys. Take this thing in squared format. And here it always positive there. And the sign which will be here is the opposite of that one, meaning it will be positive. Then you multiply both of these things, it will give you y. Give me xy. Do you see right there? This one, guys, is the final answer of this question. And when you factorize, you are forming the bracket. Do you see right there? From this thing, we just factorize until there. We are forming the bracket. So let me just do this one. So here, guys, you can see that there is no like term, meaning you cannot collect like term. Let's try to factorize this thing. So here we got 4 terms, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So here I can group this 2, 1. I can even group this 2, 1. Do you see right here? Yeah. So when I group this 2, 1, I can see that I have a common factor which is x. Then when I divide with my common factor, left with y, z. Do you see most ID? Yeah. So between these two things, guys, this thing, okay, let me just write it as the way it is, guys. So if, guys, you can see here, there is no common factor. And if I write the way it is, this thing, it is the same as that one. But now the problem is what? They have the different sign. So here I must make them to have the same sign by taking -1 as a common factor here. So -1 is a common factor. When I divide there, I get positive, divide there, I get -z. So that minus will be still there, and here will be z, y, x. Do you see now they are the same? Yeah, they are the same now. I just take it, this -1 is my common factor. This -1. And please take note, guys, that -1 will be multiplied to this negative. So this thing, it will give me what? Positive 1y minus z. And here it's z, y, x. Do you see my study? Yeah. So now if you can check, guys, here I have taken a common factor and there I have taken a common factor so that I can have the common factor. Do you see that? Take a common factor so that you can still have the common factor. So now when I factorize this thing now by taking a common factor, it will be just be y, z, open bracket, my common factor divided by there, I will be left with x. Common factor divided by here, I'll left with plus 1. Do you see, guys? Which is this one is the final answer of this thing. And when I factorize, guys, I just form the bracket from there until here. Do you see? Yeah. So now let's do these two words. So for this one, guys, we got 3 terms now. 1, 2, 3. We don't apply grouping here. We only got 3 terms. When you factorize, guys, all the time look for a common factor first. Common factor. Something which is common here and there and there. Do you see? So something that is common here, it's m, n, m, n, m, n. But now you take the base that has a small exponent. Then for m, it is 2. You take the base that has a small exponent. For n, it is 3. It means here it's 2, 3, 2, 3. Do you see my study? Yeah. But for the numbers, guys, you take a bigger number that you can divide from here and there and there. A bigger number that you can divide here and here and here. So a bigger number, guys, it's 8. 8, it is the bigger number that you can divide there and there. Do you see my study? If, guys, you take 16, 16 will give you fraction. If you can divide by 16, 16, 16, it will give me fraction here. If we take 36, divide by 36, 36, 36, it will give me fraction here and there. So it is better to take a bigger number, which is 8. Yeah, that you can divide here and there and there. So this one is my common factor. So when I divide there, I'm left with 2. Divide this thing, it's m. The whole minus exponent, it will be 2. The whole minus exponent, it will be what? 5. Yeah. So when I divide there, it will be minus, they will cancel. Yeah. So exponent will minus there, it will be just m invisible 1 and n 4. Do you see? And when I divide there, it will just give me 4. Same thing. When you divide same thing, they cancel. So here I'm left with this thing is my final answer. Do you see? Yeah, this one, it's my final answer. I just take out my common factor, I divide by it. This is what I get, guys. Yeah, which is this one is the final answer. So now here's the last question. So for the last question, let me just repeat everything that I just said before. I said, guys, when you see plus or minus, you collect like terms. Yeah, you collect like terms. But if there is no like terms, you factorize. But here, guys, you can see there is no like terms. There is no like term. These things, they do have the same base but different exponent, meaning that they are not like terms. So I can just stretch this thing. So let me try to factorize this thing. So to factorize this thing, guys, first, all the time you look for a common factor when you factorize. So here, a common factor here, if you can check, it's xy, xy, xy. And we take the base that has a small exponent, meaning this one, it has only 1, 1, 1. A base that has a small exponent. You take now a bigger number that for the numbers, you take a bigger number that when you divide here and there and there. Yeah, you look for a bigger number that you can divide here and there and there. So a bigger number that you can divide here and there, it's 5. It's 5. Meaning this one is my common factor. And if I divide, the same thing will cancel, but different exponent will minus. Same thing will cancel, and here it will be plus 5. Yeah, I think it's 5. Yeah, 5x. Same thing, cancel, divide, there it's plus. It's plus 6. Yeah, I think it is plus 6. Yeah, I think I'm correct. So now, guys, if you can check here, this thing, we can still factorize it, this one. And now, guys, here in front of me, I don't have a calculator. I don't have a calculator. So I have to show you how to get the factors. So to factorize this thing, multiply this thing. It's like 1 multiplied by 6. It will give me 6. So you'll use your calculator to get the factors. But the factors, I know them. It's 1 times 6, 2 times 3. Do you see my study? So between these factors, which factors, when you add or subtract, they will give you a middle term. So these factors, when you add them, they will give you what? A middle term, which is this one. Do you see my study? These two factors. So yeah, so now what I can just do to say that a bigger factor, take the sign of a middle term. Here it's plus. And when you see plus here positive, it means they will have the same sign. Do you see my study? Yeah. And now it means positive 2 plus positive 3, it gave me 5. Or positive 2 multiplied by positive 3, it also gives me 6. Do you see? So now let me form the expression. It's plus 2x, which is that x, plus 3, which is that x, plus 6. So now, what I can do now, I see 4 terms. Let me factorize this thing. Take the common factor so that you can have the common factor. The common factor here, it's x. Divide there, it's plus 2. And the common factor here, it's plus 3. Divide there, it's x. Divide there, it's plus 2. Do you see that? And now this bracket, guys, I can just do them like this. Do you see? Yeah. So these are the brackets. So these one are just some bigger brackets. So now, after I can just, after I take my common factor, I still have a common factor. So now let me take this one as a common factor. So divide this thing there, I'll left with x. Divide there, I'll left with positive 3. Do you see? And now here I still got my bigger brackets. But for this bigger bracket, no need for you now to put them. You can just multiply this thing inside, become like xy 3, which is this one is the final answer. And I told you that when you factorize, you are forming the bracket. Do you understand? And when you expand, you are removing the bracket. So the bigger bracket, I just remove them by expanding, guys. Yeah. Which is this one. It's my final answer for this question. Yeah, thank you.